Okay, so here is my GPS for the Gaming Strategies and Motivations class. The first thing was, the question was, what do I think about the class? Well, definitely, first off, I definitely thought it was fun. I liked the fact that we could actually play games, and I also, obviously playing games is fun, but being introduced to new games was also great because I've often wondered how could I implement games into education. So especially a game like Quest Atlantis was really helpful because I've always had the idea and the notion that it would be great if we could make an educational game, such as Quest Atlantis. So it definitely had a fun factor because I got to learn new games and actually play them. Another thing is what I liked about the class actually is it makes a great point. And from what I've interpreted as the purpose of the class is that we basically can take the teaching methods or strategies implemented in video games to make them so addictive and likable. If we want to not likable, we're going to combine them. And if we could take that and somehow intertwine that into education, we will get kids who are more engaged in class. And by getting kids more engaged in class, then they're going to be learning the content. And I mean, it's just the rewards will be so much greater. And it's interesting because this point that it's making is something that I kind of already do. I've come up with a couple games to do with my kids already, but I've always wanted to take it to the next level and actually have it more of a game and a little bit less school-ish, if that makes sense. So that's why I ended up making the pirate game that I did. So that will be like something that I can implement with this class. The other thing I like about this class is how we have to be creative. Now it is hard, but my pirate game that I was able to come up with was a great tool that I've made that will help guide me in my endeavors to try to actually integrate more games into the classes. And I am actually determined to try and make Pirate Voyage work, so I'm actually going to try to work on it more before the summer ends, when school starts and stuff. One thing I didn't like about the class was there was misinformation. I think I'm spelling this wrong. There is misinformation, or not misinformation, confusing information in all the different places where we're getting our instruction. For example, something that would be listed in the gaming guide, which I must have read at least 3 times all the way through, something would be stated there which would be different in FSO, or something would be stated in FSO that was different in the gaming guide, and could be entirely different from the syllabus. So sometimes the information was too vague or seemed that it contradicted itself within the paragraph. So there was little things that needed some clarification, and that helped because I'm sure there were other people that felt it was a little confusing at times. So anyways, the other thing that I would like to see done, or well, probably won't be done, but this class is a great class, just like the class where we use the Adobe software. And I was thinking it would be great if we could make a class that could combine those two together, where we actually made Adobe something real simple, but Adobe interactive flash media, but it had a game element to it. That would be like the next step into intertwining both of these. I would love to just like play around with Adobe and make something like that, but of course time is against us because once this class is done, we move on to the next. So I would like to, if we could, integrate Adobe with this class in the future part. So what I think about my group, actually the first thing is that my group is great. We get along very well. We communicate very well, I think, and we don't have any kind of personal issues. We are very respectful and professional with one another, and we always try to make sure everybody's on the same page. If someone doesn't get included, we always try to make sure we include them by sending them an email or getting them caught up or giving them a task to do. Everyone seems to be willing to help. which is always a good feature to have. Sometimes it's a little slow. I think sometimes we're all just kind of really passive individuals, so it's not necessarily a bad thing. We're just all pretty passive, so one of us always tends to kind of just take the charge and go, all right, well, I'll take the lead, and then we'll just kind of divvy out from there. So other than that, we're all hard workers too, and if we can work ahead and get things done early, we're all for it. So we all share very common motivations in terms of, getting good grades and getting the material understood. So I definitely enjoy my group, and I have been very fortunate and glad to have been able to work with them over these past 8 months. So that's basically it for this class. I will be playing some of those games on my own, hopefully. It'll have to be separated in with my other time. So anyways, thank you, and I hope this got the information that you wanted.